Rabbit Hole Roundup, episode 60. Truth is love, and love is the truth. In today's edition of the Rabbit Hole Roundup, I want to talk about how if your truth-seeking journey has led you towards hating or blaming all of your issues on a whole group of people, you went down the wrong rabbit hole. The truth will always make you a more loving, kind, compassionate human being. And so, as I'm always saying, we have to stop with this whole mass generalizing groups of people, but yet, I still see this going on all over social media.
You people understand.
You people? You people? Oh, you don't get to say that. You're just tan.
I'm also going to be talking about a powerful statement that I heard from Jalen Hurts during his Super Bowl post-game interview. I also have a powerful lesson that I learned from Hubie Brown, legendary NBA commentator as well as former NBA head coach, who retired the other day at 91 years old, still at the top of his game as far as I see it.
I was frightened at that. Who am I to be doing an NBA game? It's 50 years that went by so fast.
As well as some spidey senses I have tingling with this whole eggs craziness and bird flu. As well as I'm also going to be covering an interesting ad I saw from the Super Bowl talking about this drug that's like similar to Ozempic. So we have all that and more, so without further ado, let's dive deeper now. Rabbit hole time, let's go.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jared Weiss. For you guys didn't know that, must mean not subscribe to the channel so you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, make sure to leave a like, drop a comment, let me know your thoughts on this video. And if you guys haven't done so already, make sure to check out my book, Fight Through by Jared Weiss. All the links purchased are on my website, which is jaredryanweiss.com. That's JAREDRYANWEIS.com. Buy the book, support me, as always, and the support is very much appreciated. So, let's dive right into this episode now. Truth is love, and love is truth. If your individual truth-seeking journey led you towards hating on or blaming all of your problems on a whole group of people, or seeing a whole group as the other, and this refers to every group out there, you went down the wrong rabbit hole.
Was that wrong?
The truth, once again, is love, and that will always be the case. Because love is always going to be the highest frequency, as is truth. The truth does not encourage separation or division, or seeing your group as better than the other. The truth will ultimately lead you to oneness, and for anyone out there who's preaching like this group is the problem, or all of society's issues need to be blamed on this group of people, anyone who's preaching that is not telling you the truth.
You wouldn't know the truth if they kicked you in the head.
And they're most likely leading you astray, and into more fighting amongst each other as opposed to realizing the people who are actually pushing the problems. Every group is always going to have problematic individuals. But unless you survey or ask every single person who's part of that group what they believe, then generalizing the whole group will always be wrong. No whole group of people is good, and no whole group is bad. So judge every person individually by each of their actions. And I'm not even someone who likes fully putting my identity with a whole group or defending a whole group.
You're white! You're white! You don't fight!
But I also don't like seeing people claiming that like this one group is the problem, and like I see it on all sides. And to be clear, when it comes to social media, I don't want to see anyone censored unless they are actively inciting violence or breaking the law, but I do want to see better, smarter speech drown out the bad speech. And furthermore, it's like I see some people who when they get to like a dead end of a rabbit hole, so I personally believe that when you get to a dead end, that's actually when you're supposed to start turning inward and start trying to apply this knowledge to your own lives and to actually use that knowledge to empower yourselves and others. And of course, it's always going to be better to keep asking questions as opposed to the person who's not, and like the one who's just blindly trusting everything like they hear in the mainstream. But it's almost just as dangerous to be someone who gets lost too far down the rabbit hole and who never actually turns inward and is solely focused on blaming the outward. So to sum up that topic, keep asking questions, but like make sure that on your truth-seeking journey, you're focused on love, unity, and trying to find common ground with people, not solely focused on blaming or putting all of your problems on this group of people, because doing that is always going to end up with more hatred, more fear, more divisiveness, and that obviously goes against this whole idea of talking about like how you want a better world. Because I'm pretty sure that's the whole reason why so many of us go on these truth-seeking journeys in the first place, is to expose the corruption, and to then focus on the good as I'm trying to do, and bring more of that into the world. But when I see all these people who get lost in the blame game, and who get lost in the whole victimhood mindset, you're never going to win that way. And we're all never going to be able to win that way.
What did it cost?
Everything.
I mean, think about it. How can we ever progress as humanity if we can't even get past our differences in beliefs or religions or whatever it is? Live and let live will always be my message, as long as you're not hurting anyone and as long as you're not imposing your beliefs onto me. Next up, I want to talk about how Jalen Hurts, Super Bowl winning quarterback and Super Bowl MVP from this year, had a super powerful post-game interview where he was saying how I'm that same kid that went to the national championship and lost, and went back and got benched and had to transfer, had to go through this just unprecedented journey. That kid always kept the main thing, and always was true to his vision of what he saw. It's only the beginning until it's the end, and the end ain't coming anytime soon. And then he also went on to say, things come right on time. The last time around it wasn't our time, it wasn't my time. Sometimes you have to accept that you have to wait your turn. Dealing with everything that came with the last Super Bowl, you still kind of leave it empty a little bit, Hurts said. Because as great as that performance was, it wasn't enough to win. I think going through those emotions and processing those things and processing that experience lit a great flame in me and enhanced my desire to win. So, very well said. And one thing I really love about Jalen Hurts and his whole journey is that he was obviously doubted plenty of times throughout his whole football career. I mean, he got benched at Alabama after being a top quarterback. He came back in the biggest SEC championship game after Tua got hurt and put in an incredible performance. Then he ends up transferring to Oklahoma after being told basically he was no longer going to be the starting quarterback. He becomes an almost Heisman winning candidate, comes to the NFL as someone who a lot of people thought wasn't going to be good enough to play quarterback in the NFL. And look at him now. He used all that doubt and all that struggle in order to fuel his desire to win. And I think on the football field, he happens to be a great leader because of everything that he went through.
Personally, myself, I've just been able to use every experience and learn from it. The good, the bad, all of it, using it as fuel to pursue my own greatness.
So he didn't let the adversity bring him down. He actually used that adversity as fuel to keep going, stay steady, stay consistent, and continue to believe in himself. So whether you're a football fan or not, that's something I've always loved about sports, is sports is just a great metaphor for life in so many ways. Because everyone gets knocked down at one point or another, but the question is, are you going to stay down, or can you be the guy who perseveres in spite of that challenge? So Jalen Hurts is that same kid who used all that experience to make him stronger. Next up, I just want to give a little bit of my take on the whole halftime show with Kendrick Lamar. Now look, keep in mind, I actually do happen to like Kendrick Lamar's music in general. I mean, I do think he might be slightly overrated, but generally speaking, I actually do like a lot of his songs. But having said that, I was not a fan of the halftime performance, and I see everyone on social media is sort of divided on this because so many people are saying, oh, if you didn't like the performance, then you didn't get the message. The message must have gone over your heads. Or you see all these people who, of course, trying to make it a race issue, black versus white.
This is not about black and white.
Or Kendrick versus Drake fans, or stupid and brainwashed versus smart and awakened, I guess. But look, not everything has to be so serious, and I'm so tired of everything turning into a whole race narrative, or a whole, if you didn't like this, you must be a moron.
I hate how fans cannot say that they did not like a performance without being like, oh, you didn't understand the message. It was a deeper meaning. No, it just sucks. People didn't like it. I'm a Kendrick Lamar fan. It has nothing to do with Trump, MAGA, or whatever the hell else y'all want to make it about. I did not like the performance. I'm so sick of these woke people, these white savers getting on here acting like they're so much smarter than than everybody else just because you thought you understood subliminal messages.
I mean, as someone who actually likes a lot of Kendrick's music, I personally believe he didn't choose the right songs to start out with. He didn't have the right type of vibe or the right type of energy for a Super Bowl performance, and the whole thing was basically just him centered around his whole beef with Drake. And when it comes to a Super Bowl performance, you want to see the best performance. A lot of us don't really care about a whole hidden message that's so esoteric that only some of us could see it.
I still don't see it.
It's as Steve Kim said, one of the contributors on Jason Whitlock's show, why are we taking the bread and circus so seriously? It's supposed to be fun. And this is my belief as well, because I'm not someone who's against the bread and circuses. I think they can actually become a positive part in a balanced lifestyle for all of us, as long as we're taking care of our other priorities. But when it comes to the halftime show, a lot of us don't really want to find the hidden message or be told how if we don't like it, we're not this or we're not that. I would have liked to see a better performance. If you guys liked it or didn't like it, I'm cool with that. But I'm tired of this whole division based on political party, based on color, based on whatever it might be. If you liked it, you liked it. If you didn't like it, you didn't like it. It's part of life. Not everyone's gonna agree on everything. And talking more about the whole Super Bowl, I saw all the truther people prior to the Super Bowl saying that the Chiefs were scripted to win because the Eagles had 666 wins and 665 losses, so this is going to be their 666th loss, devil, sin, whatever. But this is why I've actually had an issue with a lot of the Twitter community recently.
I got a lot of problems with you people.
Is because a lot of people see everything as a whole giant script, and you can't watch pro sports, you can't listen to music, or else you're brainwashed. But this is why I'm talking about having more balance in our lives. Especially because all the people who were watching the Super Bowl only to prove that it was scripted. How much fun did you guys have, especially getting it wrong? and you had everyone convinced that like this was gonna happen, this was the way it was gonna be, and the same thing happened over the last few weeks. So many people saying like the numerology said that, like this team was gonna win, or this team was gonna win, but I saw so many people get it wrong. So can we still like enjoy some things without everything needing to be satanic or scripted? Once again, I'm all for questioning everything, but I've also reached this point where I can still enjoy some things without everything needing to be so serious. Now, I do think, as I said in 2 videos ago, I do think pro sports are definitely rigged, and I do think certain teams get favored by the leagues, but like I think it's more of where a team has to win by 15 just to win by 1, as opposed to all the players being actors and like they're all in on it. I don't see that as being possible, and so I think in the case of the Super Bowl, I do think the refs and the NFL definitely wanted the Chiefs to win, but it's pretty hard for the refs to give the Chiefs the game, especially when Philadelphia was by far the much better team and the more complete team. And to be honest, I actually think the Super Bowl showed us how the Buffalo Bills actually belong to that game. Just saying. Next topic I want to get into is Hubie Brown, 91 years old, retired this past week as the ABC ESPN NBA commentator.
Well, first of all, it's 50 years that went by so fast, you turn around, you can't believe it. That's number one. I received a master's degree and a doctorate's degree in basketball.
And I think that this is actually a very powerful lesson, which is to do what you love, relentlessly pursue your passions, and those passions are going to bring you joy for the rest of your life. I mean, this guy's been doing this for the past, I think, 20 or 30 years now, and he's someone who lives and breathes the game of basketball. You could tell by all the games he broadcasts, like, he's so knowledgeable, and I actually think he still could have kept going even at 91. He's still probably the most knowledgeable commentator for NBA games who I hear. And it's like same thing when it comes to people like Bill Belichick or Pete Carroll, guys who are still coaching into their 70s. When you find what you love, that passion never really leaves you, and the passion can bring you happiness forever. And it's like, as one of my favorite quotes goes from the Uncle Drew movie, as the character played by Nate Robinson says, you don't stop playing because you get old because you stop playing. So shout out to Hubie Brown for truly living the message that ball is life. Next up, I want to dive into some of this whole bird flu nonsense that's going around. I'm going to try my best to keep this short, but like Kathy Hochul and other governors out there are trying so hard to push this whole bird flu is the next pandemic. And this is why I believe like it's so important to understand terrain theory and study it. Now look, I don't think like they have enough people on board this time to push a whole nother mass scale panic with draconian restrictions, but even not considering terrain theory, even if you are someone who still believes like that germs and viruses cause disease, did any of their preventative measures work last time? And no, I didn't realize like that killing millions of chickens or cattle or cows or demonizing cow farts is how you make people healthier. And do we really want to be eating lab-grown meat? I sure as hell don't. Understand that health is always holistic.
You see, it's in the best interest of the medical profession that you remain sick.
And it's your own body's inner terrain, the environment that your body's in. When you put toxins in, whether it's in the food, the air, the medicine, or even toxic thoughts, the output is going to be more sickness. So make sure to take care of your inner health and inspire others to do the same, not to live in fear of the invisible enemy. And if you are someone who's more interested in the topic of terrain theory, I would highly recommend looking into the flaws and shortcomings of virology and read books such as Tom Cowan's The Truth About Contagion, aka The Contagion Myth, or What Really Makes You Ill, by Dawn Lester and David Parker. There's also several good podcasts out there. So no doom and gloom here coming from my end, as you know by now. But my spidey senses are tingling a little bit with how we can't even buy eggs anymore. Next up, I have a very interesting Super Bowl commercial. Like, I wasn't even aware of while it was happening, but like, my brother sent this to me afterwards. It has to do with Hims and Hers selling a new weight loss product. Let's watch together.
This Hims and Hers ad during the Super Bowl is so insidious and also quite possibly illegal. Because at first I was like, hell yeah, who's this talking about obesity and how it's America's #1 health crisis, which is 100% true. They call out how the system is meant to keep us sick. They point out that the food industry is selling us poison for profit. They even threw in visuals of Fruit Loops, so I know they're for sure paying attention to Maha and the movement to boycott Kellogg's. But guess what their solution is? It's just more drugs. Injectables, pills, you name it. So then I looked into what Hims and Hers is peddling. And it turns out what they're essentially selling is unregulated Ozempic, something called compounded semaglutide, which the FDA has not reviewed, approved, or tested for safety or efficacy. In fact, the FDA website right now has a warning about these unapproved weight loss drugs. They're talking about cases of hospitalization due to dosing errors, possible counterfeit Ozempic. There have been hundreds of reported cases of adverse side effects just in the last couple months alone, and I'm sure the real number is probably way higher than this. The ad doesn't talk about any of these side effects, which I'm pretty sure is illegal for a pharmaceutical ad. And in fact, they just tout their products as quote unquote the future of health.
This is the future of healthcare. This is Hims and Hers. Join us in the fight for a healthier America.
Absolutely criminal.
So, another classic case of being part of the cause of the problem and then trying to provide people with a solution which is only going to cause more problems. Weight loss is not just simply a number on the scale. It's like you can eat 2 Oreos a day.
You don't eat Oreos the way you break them open, you're...
Or 1 Big Mac every day and lose weight. But as far as I see it, we start viewing weight loss as an overall health journey because that's the only way it's ever going to be sustainable and realistic to do long term. And I believe like it's taking into account all areas of your life. It's taking into account detoxification, diet, nutrition, friend groups, positive thoughts, meditation, breath work, detoxing the mind, etc., etc. There's so many areas of our health that like to only focus on one area or one number without addressing the whole person is never going to be the ultimate solution. You're just always going to be attacking the symptoms without actually getting to the root cause of the problem and why it's there in the first place. And finally, in this week's episode, I have another clip that I think gives a very interesting perspective on why it's so important to always stay a child, or to always remember to have like your sense of childlike curiosity about the world, and to always be a kid at heart. It was something like I've always prided myself on. And it's actually coming from a biblical perspective. Very interesting.
Nowhere in the Bible are you ever called an adult. You're never called an adult of God. Everywhere in this book, you're always called a child of God. Nowhere are you ever called an adult. You know why the Lord don't call you an adult? Because adults are set in their ways. Adults have hardened hearts. Adults don't like to be coached. Adults don't like to be corrected. Adults are very prideful and arrogant. Adults can't be told they're wrong. Adults don't like to repent. But the Lord don't want us acting like adults. You can be an adult chronologically, but in your mind and your heart, He wants you to have childlike humility. Because if we all act like little children, we will survive this experiment together.
So, a very interesting perspective shift, especially because how many times do we hear the phrase, grow up, it's time to start acting like an adult? But like, why are kids able to have so much more fun than adults? Why are kids typically the best listeners and the best learners? It's because, as I said in that clip, adults are typically set in their ways, have become hardened to life. But like, if you actually always maintain that same childlike curiosity about the world, if you're able to maintain that innocence and maintain that own inner magic that gets you believing in yourself and believing that great things are meant for you, and that keeps you humble and willing to change, willing to adapt, that's always gonna be the best case scenario for your life. So I actually have a video coming out soon on the Jared and James channel that talks about all the things that adults get wrong about the world that kids get right. But that's a super powerful way to view the world. See us all as children of God, and to always be wondering about things. Be a seeker of truth, be a seeker of love and light. Go after your dreams with all you've got, rather than worrying about what's realistic or being so hardened to the world. Stay young at heart, and I believe you'll actually have the magic recipe to living your best life. Anyways guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel, be sure to drop a like, leave a comment. I will catch you guys next time. Stay positive, stay hustling, stay grinding, stay critical thinking. Catch you next time. Peace.